little bit of it's still being defined. But this will eliminate a lot of the cross-compiling issues that we've had as well, which require patches and all sorts of other things to get everything working nicely. We're also going to enable several of the additional Asterisk 1.8 features, possibly integrating the Google feature set, some of the calendaring, and some of the other more advanced features that have been added in Asterisk 1.8 are currently not enabled. We want to maintain the image-based installs so that we can keep the upgrades and restores very easily manageable. One of those things, like with the image-based installs, if I have a dozen devices that are out there, I can go to each of those devices, issue one command, reboot the device, and I'm on the new firmware, which makes it very easy to maintain. If you look, we have a couple different websites of interest. The www.astlinux.com is our main site with the release information, some news about the project, that sort of thing. We also have a separate documentation wiki that has been put together and maintained by some of the community members. So we're actually getting some of the stuff documented in a current format. I'd like to put up a slide with some of the past contributors and current contributors, highlighting some of the people aren't developers as much as they're available. They're people from our community that have tested and contribute back, and that's as much of an important thing to a project as going in and making the actual release. If you don't have people testing and giving that feedback, it makes it difficult to get a stable product. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be open to any questions about the project.
As far as in the 5501, do you use any analog card you have, or do you use just a specific one?
We have support for the Digium cards, Sangoma, Rhino, pretty much. I mean, that's most of them.
Because I use the 5501 for on our wall in most of my offices, and I have a Trix box.
Okay.
It would make a lot of sense to combine that.
Right.
So, get away from the analog hard drive and fill.
Right.
The hard drive goes down, even if you have it in a RAID or a mirror, you still have to do stuff to it.
Plus all the heat.
On the walls, I've had that for 7 years, and they just keep running. So it would be.
Right.
What are the devices that do they fail over? Do you have 2 ISPs?
We're looking at that. There's some preliminary support for failover. It's a little tricky because you'd have to, if you fail over and Asterisk is registered over one route, you have to restart Asterisk, or funny things happen, and automating that without disrupting current internal calls or analog calls is a little problematic. Okay.
How much of your Linux have you had to strip out? I know you said you've got the firewall rules and everything still there. QoS is always a big concern for us. Have you left those tools in place? Can you still get?
Oh, we include full QoS support as part of the firewall, yes. We're actually using another open source project, Arno's IP table firewall, and a couple of our developers have committed, one of them actually has commit rights on the project, and we add features back in and use their project as our firewall. So we've added a plugin. Actually, our developers have contributed back on 2 different plugins. One is it's similar to Fail to Ban. Basically, it looks at, parses the log files for Asterisk and SSH, and will ban IPs based on that. The other one is the traffic shaping one. Correct. If you can do both. IPsec is using Raccoon, and that will work. I mean, I've actually connected it up with making some modifications, connected it back to a Cisco VPN concentrator.
I may have missed it because I must have missed some of your slides. But I know you support DHCP for gathering IP address information. Do you support DNS or how are you pronouncing that?
Yes, DNS is also available. Yeah. If I had I was planning on showing the web interface, but the way we have things set up, we ran into some display issues.
Actually, another question. Do you support non-caching SQUID or any kind of proxy SQL port?
We don't have SQUID or anything like that in there right now. We're using, for our DHCP services and DNS services, we're using a package called DNS Mask, which is it's like a Swiss Army knife of networking tools. You have DHCP, DNS, TFTP services right in one little tool, which is nice. There, look like you're going to ask a question. No. Sure.
On the two offices you had connected together, are you IX2 trunking together, or are you just, how are you?
Just SIP trunking.
Just doing zip trunking?
Right. And that's all inside the VPN. They didn't have enough concurrent calls to make it worth going from SIP to IX back to SIP.
You wanted to do IX, is it in there?
It's in there. Yeah, that's all in there. Has not been stripped out. And there's live CDs that are available down at the table in the open source arena, and those are built with Asterisk 180, so you can test that out and try it out. And that has secure RTP support in it as well.
Yeah, the web interface, are you able to fully configure like a sitcom?
The web interface is really designed to manage the system, manage the network controls, has some user interface ability, but mostly it's designed for the networking and that feature set rather than the Asterisk set. We do have, like I mentioned earlier, we do have some support for the Asterisk GUI 2.0, but you have to manually enable that. We have instructions on how to do that on our wiki, but it's compiled and it's available in the image. It's just not turned on by default. We don't feel it's the best way to configure an Asterisk system. So.
I'll put my 2 cents in and say that I think it's pretty cool. I've been using it for a number of years on Surface devices, and my most prevalent use has been to make it into a front end for SIP enabling older PBX platforms, where it's basically treated as it takes SIP calls in and then turns into PRI calls and it gets fed out to older PBX. And we use it for, it's really to fill in the blank solution for almost anything that doesn't require disk. It's a cheap hardware. I really love the project. I guess great.
Yeah.
I'll add my 2 cents to that. I've been using it for, 3.5, 4 years now on a little PC Engine wrap board. So about the same size as that board that,
Yeah, very similar to this.
very similar to that. That's just the next step up
Right.
from what I have. And I carry it around with me in my suitcase everywhere I travel. And I have PBX there that I can use. I can use it to front back to PBX I've got in Colo. I don't travel without AstLinux on board because it's that flexible and
Right.
that powerful.
Well, and even just taking the Asterisk part aside, the networking tools that are built in and that have evolved over the last several years is
They save my bacon. So.
right. If there's any other questions, feel free to stop by the table. I should be down there, or somebody else should be down at the booth the rest of the conference. So, thank you.